Today's Tuesday, May the 19th, and everything was going pretty well. We were approaching yesterday's close several times, got rejected around 10:15 in the morning, got rejected around 11:30, and then it got rejected the final time around 2:30. And it looks like the news that turned the market down was that the vaccine trial data may not have been as thoroughly vetted as people thought. And you can find that on CNBC. Didn't produce data critical to assessing the COVID-19 vaccine. So what we're seeing is just a jerk around. The market is reacting to news before it's really, when it's a rumor. So they're buying on the rumor and then they're selling on the news. And we hear that so many times. So if we go back to FinViz, we can see that the advancers and decliners were certainly in favor of the decliners. Lots of red everywhere, and just at the end of the day. So it could lead to some bad news tomorrow. We're looking at the McClellan Index now as having come back pretty close to zero. And the summation index, I fixed the chart a little bit so you can see that the summation index actually ticked up a little bit. So, we could be forming, some sort of one of these patterns. But that pullback is certainly not very significant, and there's the whole summer yet to go. The volume stacked was lower than yesterday and was more like the type of volume we saw last week. We certainly wanted to see follow through today with yesterday's relatively high volume. Because when you look when the market was stable back in early February, you had fairly low volume. And then the volume really picked up as the market dropped. As the market resumed its climb back up, the volume dropped, and the volume continues to be lackluster. This is what total shares traded looked like, and you can see that the advancers were pale in comparison to yesterday, but the decliners were quite high. And we've looked at the summation index already. So now let's take a look at some charts, which are not really all that exciting. We finished below the 200 on the SPX, but we never did challenge the Chiku span today. That would have required a point up here, top of the white line. We never hit that today, so the Chiku span didn't come into play. We're just looking at noise right now. Apple continues to be, in my mind, a strong stock and was really doing quite well until 3 o'clock, 2:30, 3 o'clock with everything else. And then it did pull back 0.53%. Still a good stock. Caterpillar tomorrow, if you were waiting for the dividend, it should be in your bank account tomorrow. Today was just a reversal of yesterday. Nothing exciting. Let's put the cloud back onto this chart here. And you can see that it's playing with this very low, very thin resistance area right here. And there's really no resistance. Equally, there's no support for quite a while, certainly for the rest of the month. Home Depot had its earnings this morning, and I was pretty bullish on it. And it did have increased retail sales, but its profits were down, and they refused to give a forecast for the next quarter. But then so did most other companies. So I wouldn't read too much into that. I'm still excited about Home Depot. I sold those 4 weekly 45 puts, 245 puts, and I sold 4 of them. And I'm quite willing to take the stock at 245. I collected $5.80, something like that, for the puts. So that would put my net cost around $239, which is a little bit about where we are now. So I'm still bullish on Home Depot. They also declared a dividend that goes ex-dividend in June, and it pays out, I think, end of June. Anyways, it's a fairly good dividend. Take a look at it. Let me tell you what it is, since you're still listening to me. The dividend was ex-dividend on June the 3rd, and it's $1.50, which is really good. So that's why I don't mind absorbing 400 more shares. they'll come to me at a cost of let's say roughly 240. I'm going to immediately find some 250 short calls to cover them with to gain more premium and wait for the dividend. If the stock hits 250 before June the 3rd, the stock will be taken away from me and I'll lose my dividend, but the stock will be at 250 when I paid 239 for it and then collected short call premium. So I'm going to be pretty happy. I don't care if I miss out on the dividend because I'll do it by collecting premium. Cisco down 45 cents. FSLY, reversal of yesterday. GDX continues to show that it's going to go higher, stock that you should buy. NVIDIA continues to be a bit of a beast, breaking away from its Gartley pattern, just ignoring the Gartley pattern, and you got this gap created here. Great stock. W, starting to reverse this downtrend. It got some good analyst news today, but it will be too late for the pairing of options that I had. I'm still interested in it, but I would have longer dated options, maybe into July and August. And I'm going to wait until we see some activity around the 172 area before I jump into that again. Whirlpool, still just, it is moving higher. So just hang on. It's not a bad stock. I don't have that much of it, but it's a good dividend paying stock. What else can we look at? We haven't looked at Facebook in a while. It's continuing to move towards its all-time high up here. Do we have a Gartley pattern in there? Auto harmonic. I'm sure we do. We don't. So that's it for today. Where are we going tomorrow? Well, the chart tells us that we're getting in the SPX, we're just going to get, come on SPX, click. We're going to be held back by the 200, where the Chico span is going to hold us back. It's going to take some good reopening, some good retail, some good COVID news to pick us up here. Remember what we said about the McClellan oscillator? It's at 0 now. So it's at near 0, so it's at a decision point. Could go either way. I wouldn't hold out too much for this market for the rest of the week. I'm just holding what I've got, and I'm continuing to what I would call being conservative, because everything that I have is covered by short calls that are frankly doing quite well.